Hello, friends, and welcome to the PrepWell podcast. I'm your host, Phil Black. And if you have an 8th, 9th, or 10th grader with big aspirations, like the Ivy League, or military service academies like West Point, ROTC, or athletic scholarships, boom, you've come to the right place. My specialty, my superpower, if you will, is preparing families for these competitive programs. I'll teach you what your child should do, when they should do it, and how you can help. So stick around and prepare to out-prepare. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the PrepWell podcast. As we turn the page on another year, it doesn't appear that 2022 is shaping up to be the return to normalcy that we've all been hoping for. I don't want to depress everybody by rehashing the many crises facing our country, but I would like to focus on one eventuality that may be coming to a theater near you, and that is renewed lockdowns. There are some states out there, like Florida and Texas, where lockdowns will not be an issue, but there are many more where lockdowns have returned already, or they may be right around the corner. Most of us have heard of the Omicron variant, which is highly contagious, and it has many states reverting back to the 2020 playbook, for good or for bad. And I pray that lockdowns don't extend to the schools again, but I would not put anything past anyone anymore. If lockdowns do come back, and you live in a non-lockdown state, a free state, in my opinion, you'll have a distinct advantage over students living in lockdown states, because you'll be able to get out and participate in after-school clubs, sports, internships, jobs, shadowing sessions, recreation, volunteer work, community service, stuff that students have been doing for decades. You will be living life. Living life allows you to fill your college application with extracurricular activities, which, by the way, is a big help these days, especially when most colleges continue to be, quote, test optional. If you're living with lockdowns, whether school lockdowns, business lockdowns, or some combination, you will continue to have your work cut out for you, not only in keeping up with your academics, but with assembling a group of extracurricular activities and life experiences that show what you care about, what you're capable of, and what you're interested in. Obviously, this is not a situation that you want to be in, and you may have to work around it. So in this episode, I will review a few ideas for extracurricular activities for students who find themselves in lockdown states, where you're unable to take advantage of traditional opportunities. Now, on the bright side, if you're a lockdowner and you play your cards right, you can turn a challenging situation into something that really stands out in a college application. In fact, I've worked with a few students who, in my opinion, used the lockdowns to their advantage and did some wild things that they wouldn't have even considered if it were not for the lockdowns. Was it easy? No. Did it take more planning and resourcefulness and creativity and initiative and courage? Yes, it did. But those are all things that colleges love to see and will give you a lot of credit for. It's been nearly 2 years now since COVID started, and I've worked with many students, including my own sons, who have worked around many of the limitations that lockdowns have brought and found great success. In fact, now it's a bit easier than it used to be at the beginning of the pandemic, because now everybody's comfortable and familiar with Zoom calls and Microsoft Teams and other platforms. They're used to working remotely. It's not such a new thing or an inconvenience anymore like it used to be. If anything, it's almost expected. So use this to your advantage. And when you're thinking about what kind of lockdown activities to pursue, many of the same principles apply. Number one, does the activity align with your interests? Are there opportunities for you to show leadership? How long can you do the activity? Because duration is a good thing. What type of impact are you having? Is this something that any old high schooler could do? Or is it something that only a few people in your school or city or state or region or country could pull off? The more of these things you can check off, the better. Here are some examples of some lockdown-friendly activities that you might consider. Informational interviews. This is where you set up a phone call or a Zoom call, and you simply have a conversation with an adult about something you're interested in. These could be with professors at colleges you're targeting, could be with business leaders, could be with potential employers, it could be with family friends in a field of interest. This is something you can do with a cold call or a cold email or a simple introduction from a parent or a teacher or a friend. What about independent reading? I've had PrepWellers read dozens and dozens of books on military leadership, on U.S. presidents, seminal books on philosophy. Basically, they give themselves their own independent reading list on a topic that really interests them. And this can count as a very significant extracurricular activity that you can do in the privacy of your own home. What about publishing? I've had PrepWellers publish books, poetry, blog articles. They've submitted provisional patent applications. They've written screenplays. How about building or adding to your portfolio? I've had PrepWellers produce artwork, record songs that they've written, act out dramatic scenes from movies or plays, gotten really into photography. And all of this work gets captured in their online portfolios. What about product development? I've had PrepWellers invent product, invent services, both online and otherwise. Vlogging, recording yourself daily, has become more than just a habit for some students who do it for fun. Many of them have brought these vlogs online and created big communities and followerships. Some are making 5 figures a month in income. Virtual clubs. It's much easier now than it was 2 years ago to start and run an online club or organization, whether it's aerospace engineering or video editing or game design. This is becoming much more popular and in some cases preferred. Athletic pursuits. There are many sports out there where fitness plays a key role in your performance. And boy, if you put your mind to it, you can get in awfully good shape at home, in your bedroom, in your basement, in the backyard. Many of my PrepWellers have figured this out, and they've taken great advantage of the downtime to get stronger, faster, quicker, more flexible. You'd be surprised at what daily calisthenics can do for your body. Set a Guinness World Record. While we're on the topic of sports, my sons have a friend in college who set the world record for time spent rowing a Concept 2 rower, over 55 consecutive hours. Now, that's something that would get the attention of an admissions officer who's gotten bored seeing the same old activities over and over and over again. How about skill acquisition? I've had PrepWellers who have learned new computer languages, built iPhone apps, produced podcasts, learned to ride a unicycle, learned how to juggle, learned how to shoot handguns, learned to play the piano, learned how to train their dog, how to hold their breath for 4 minutes, how to knit, how to build robots and drones, and the list goes on and on. The internet makes this very feasible today. Online classes like Masterclass, Skills, Udemy, Coursera, YouTube, Khan Academy, Lynda. These platforms have free lessons, some of them are paid lessons, that will help you to learn something you're interested in. Think about it. Let's say you're interested in physics. You could put together, using all the platforms I just mentioned, an entire semester's worth of self-directed online curriculum, mostly for free, that would teach you college-level physics. This by itself would be a very impressive extracurricular activity that you created from scratch for free during a lockdown. And I know PrepWellers who have done just that. online internships. These days, online internships have almost become the norm versus the exception. So don't give up if the traditional in-person internships are no longer available. Start searching for online opportunities to get plugged in. Research. Why not conduct independent research on your own into a topic that you're particularly passionate about? Even if it doesn't turn into a fancy book or an article or a white paper or a report, a deep dive into something that you care deeply about will almost always pay dividends. It may even turn into your college essay. Mining Bitcoin. I know PrepWellers who stand to be very wealthy someday thanks to their interest and timing and courage when it came to the cryptocurrency phase. They use their downtime to research what Bitcoin is, how to mine it, how to use arbitrage to their benefit. Projects like this offer a lot of real-world experience that you wouldn't even get even if you went to college. Ghost stock portfolios. Similar to those who are interested in crypto, there are other PrepWellers who decided that they wanted to, quote-unquote, play the market to see how they would do if they were in charge of large sums of money. And since most of them didn't have any real cash, they set up notional or ghost stock portfolios with fake money and tried to optimize their portfolios in a low-risk environment. How about networking with college professors? There's nothing preventing you from getting online, going to a college website that you're interested in, finding the faculty tab, finding a professor who teaches in your field of interest, and reaching out to them by email. Maybe they have recommendations on a book to read. Maybe they have documentaries that you should watch or podcasts to listen to. I've had PrepWellers who've parlayed such cold calls or cold emails with professors into summer research jobs. You just never know. Create something, anything, a website, an iPhone app, a video, a piece of art, a bit of music, photography, film, editing, acting, writing. These days, we've become so conditioned to consume what other people create for us, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram or some other platform, that sometimes we forget how to create anything ourselves. And lastly, what about hobbies? Colleges love to hear about your hobbies because hobbies provide insight into something other than your grades and SAT scores. Hobbies run deeper. They tap into something unique about you, your values, your upbringing, your likes, your passions. So if you have a hobby that's been on the back burner for a while, maybe it's time to dust it off and get back into it. This is just a smattering of what some of my most successful PrepWellers have done when faced with the worst of the lockdowns over the last 2 years. If this pandemic continues and you find yourself in a lockdown state and you're panicking because you're going to miss out on opportunities to do what so many other students are doing in the free states, review this list and come up with a plan. Come up with a plan to neutralize the effects of the lockdown. In fact, for some of you, it might even be an advantage to be in a lockdown state when it comes to extracurricular activities, because it might force you to do something unconventional, something that other students wouldn't think of, something that's unique to you. And with all the online resources available to us these days, it's getting easier and easier to do such things, alone and at home. I'm not sure that that's a good thing or a bad thing, but let's consider it a good thing for the time being. I wish you luck, and please share with me what you've decided to do to stand out, even if you've been locked down. That's all I've got for you today, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the continued support. If you know a parent with a 6th, 7th, 8th grader, 9th grader, 10th grader, 11th grader in high school that might find this helpful, please share this episode with them. You can do that by finding that small box with the tiny arrow pointing up. That's the share button. Click that button, text it to your friends with a little note from you recommending that they give it a listen. Of course, if you have questions, comments, or an idea for an upcoming episode, please reach out to me by email, DM me on Instagram, check out our blog, Facebook, connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to hear from you. Until next week, goodbye, good luck, and never stop preparing. This podcast is brought to you by PrepWell Academy. PrepWell Academy is my one-of-a-kind online mentoring program that delivers to your 9th or 10th grader a short, highly relevant video from me every week, every Sunday in fact, where I give them a heads up about what they should be thinking about to stay ahead of the game. To get these valuable lessons into your child's hands, please head over to PrepWellAcademy.com and enroll your child today.